Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, John Nocklinger. I'm a men's divorce coach and a New Jersey divorce attorney and mediator. Today, we're going to help you guys learn to flirt again and find that new relationship you may not even know that you want. My guest is Dale Valor. He is a men's dating coach. He is the author of Inner Game and helps men all over the world have a better relationship with themselves so that they can have a better relationship with others. There's still love after divorce, guys, and Dale is going to help us find it today. Thank you for being here, Dale.
Hey, listen, man, John, thank you so much for taking the time to, have me sit down with you and everything. This is a group of men that are near and dear to me, because I know the struggles that they've been through, with many of the guys that I work with. They've been down this road before, as I'm sure most of your guys are, if not all of them. So there's a specific set of issues that, guys who have been through divorce or going through a divorce tend to deal with that, maybe a college student or, someone just kind of entering their career and things like that. They've never had those issues that they don't struggle with. They got their own issues, you know what I mean? But this is a very specific kind of issue. And I'm glad to have the opportunity to chop it up with you and, get a few things figured out.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I mean, you're right, because they just went through a marriage and now it
Yeah.
didn't work for whatever reason. It didn't work. And now here they are coming out of it. And, you've seen guys before. A lot of guys I divorce, they're usually in two camps. One is the camp of guys that are just so despondent and they're just like, down in the dumps, maybe abusing substance use, and they don't really know how they're even going to find anyone else in the world. Then there's the other group of guys that run out there and find the first person they can find, and they're already in a new relationship before even the dust has cleared on their marriage. And I see these
Ink
guys
isn't
all
even
the time.
dry.
Right. Well, and there's a reason why second marriages end at a higher rate than first marriages. And it's
Yeah.
because not everyone takes the time. So I guess my first question for you before we get into dating is,
Mhm.
don't you have to fix the relationship that you have with yourself when you're coming out of this relationship that just failed? Don't you have to work on that before you can even really
Yeah,
honestly start?
100%. Now I do. I mean, it's a case by case situation. Everybody's different and has, they respond to things differently and things like that. But in the general sense, my feeling is, look, um, you just came out of, I mean, really what could be labeled as a traumatic event, especially if the divorce is bad. You know what I mean? So, I've heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you're definitely in that field, but I've heard that getting divorce is psychologically and emotionally akin to a death, in the family or something like that, and so, if your mom died, I wouldn't be like, hey, yo, just get out there and find a new mom. You know what I mean? Like, there's things that you're going to have to deal with internally, right? Because if you are, a lot of guys take a knock with their confidence. Well, if I was a better man, or if I was more confident, maybe this wouldn't have happened, or they take a knock to their self-esteem. If I was better, maybe she'd still be with me, and there might be some validity to those statements, if we're being honest. But at the end of the day, you still have a life that you can work on these things about yourself. So moving into the next relationship, this isn't going to be an issue. I do advocate generally, not for everybody, but generally, if they're pretty emotionally stable, they got things to work on, but they're pretty stable. I do advocate though, get into a social circle, that has women as a part of it. A lot of times guys come out of these divorces, and I understand it, but they're bitter. And all women suck, all women, you know what I mean? They paint with a big broad brush. And if they're around women from the time that they're pretty much getting out of that divorce, and they can see that, okay, not all women actually suck. Maybe it was just the one I was with. You know what I mean? So, I do advocate that they do talk to women and have interactions and not necessarily date, but just be around women, on some level. I'm not saying just go out and just make friends with every woman you meet, but if you have a buddy who's a part of, we'll just say, a co-ed softball team, hey, maybe join that co-ed softball team too when the spurt, when that comes around. So yeah.
Yeah, and for another reason too is that a lot of guys who have been in long-term relationships, they're just socially awkward, Dale. They're just socially awkward around women because maybe they, over the years they didn't feel comfortable even speaking to women because they were
Right.
afraid, their wife would get pissed off at them or whatever.
Right.
But another thing that's interesting is I see guys sort of on the other side of this where they get out of a marriage and it's all the other person's fault. It's because they're crazy psychopath. They're this, they're that. And I think that's where this really comes in is I really don't feel like if you can't take any ownership of what just happened to you, if you can't reflect on your responsibility for the end of the marriage, I just don't understand how you can really have a good next relationship. What do you think?
I agree 100%. You have to take, it takes two to tango. You have to take some type of onus. And like, look, I mean, if push comes to shove, and she's as crazy as you say that she is, and she's just this, demon in high heels, and all that. Hey, you picked her. You know what I mean? So there's culpability on that level. If all my friends and everybody I know are a bunch of losers and just garbage human beings, I'm likely to be the next one. You know what I mean? I have to do better picking the people that are in my circle. And if you're going to have a relationship, which, you would hope to be a lifelong thing, a partnership, a loving bond and all those kinds of things, you got to pick the right person. And that falls on you. If you picked that, you're the one that got down on one knee. You're the one that asked her. She didn't ask you. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe there's some circumstances in that, but it's probably pretty rare, But you're the one that did the asking. What are you signing up for? And so if you picked her, I mean, buck stops here, man. It's inevitably on you. You're the one that needs to take an audit of your life. And guess what? Up until that marriage, every relationship that you ever had, came to an end, right? You're not still in a relationship with your junior high girlfriend at 35. You know what I mean? Like every relationship up until that marriage ended at one point or another. And now your marriage ended too. What's the common denominator here? You. You know what I mean? So like, in relationships end for all kinds of reasons. I'm not saying it's because you're a terrible person, but everybody has things that they need to work on. Everybody has, you, me, everybody. We all have things that we're trying to work on internally. And if you're just like, nope, I've arrived, everybody else sucks. Is it everybody else sucks? Or is it that you suck? You know what I mean? So
Absolutely. I mean, that's absolutely the case. And I do want to hear, because I think one of the things most guys are thinking about is, why don't women find me more attractive? And I want to talk to you about sort of what women find attractive in men. But before we get there, I do want to go the opposite direction. Like, how do you figure out what attracts you to a woman? Like, you know what, like some guys will just be very like surface level and just see someone who's physically attractive. But you know what, that's not how you should choose someone to be in a long-term relationship with, right? Because we all change over the years. I know over the past 20 years I probably gained 50 pounds and lost 50 pounds just because that's what happens.
So I was gonna say, you don't look like you got 50 pounds to lose, man.
Oh yeah, well, it's because I'm on the lower end of that right now. But and it's an interesting thing. But what is it when you're talking to guys and you're talking to them about getting out there and dating again? How do you kind of help guide them in what they should be looking for? Forget what the opposite sex is going to look for in them. What should they be looking for?
Well, here's the thing, man. I'm not here to judge like what anybody wants. Okay, I'll give you a quick story. So there was a guy that I was working with when I lived back in Detroit. You know, he lived local to me, so we were able to go out together often, and I would kind of coach him up on, you know, approaching, and, you know, and things like that, and carrying conversation and flirtation, all that kind of thing. Well, you know, so we're at this kind of high end luxury mall in the area, okay, and you know, so I would see, you know, some woman walking down the hallway, or you know, whatever, in a store, and be like, all right, man, go talk to her. All right, man, go talk to her. All right, man, go talk to her. Right. And we went out, I don't know, 3 or 4 times. And one day, you know, he kind of stops me, and he's like, hey, Dale, listen, man, the women that you're kind of pushing me to go approach, and sometimes I literally had to physically push this guy, like, no, man, go, like I said, do it, you know, but he was like, they're objectively attractive women. You know, he's like, it's not like you're sending me to go talk to some 65-year-old grandmother. You know what I mean? They're attractive women. However, they're not the kind of women that I'm normally wanting to get to know, normally wanting, you know, to attract into my life. And I'm like, okay, well, what is it that you like? Because I'm not, I mean, it's not about me, it's about you, you know? And he was like, well, he's like, generally, I like very ghetto, overweight black girls. And I'm like, well, you just made my job a lot easier, man. We're like, why are we here? You know what I mean? Like, let's go to where those types of women are, you know? And so, you know, it wasn't my job to be like, no, man, I'm not attracted to those type of girls. Therefore, you shouldn't be either. You know what I mean? What attraction isn't a choice. What you like is what you like, you know? And so what have guys do is build out an avatar of their ideal type of woman that they would like to be in a, you know, long-term relationship with, or whatever. And like, I used to do real estate. Okay. I ran a real estate team in Detroit for quite a while and things like that. And when I would have a new buyer sitting down with me, you know, one of the things I absolutely hated was, hey, what are you looking for in a home? And they would be like, okay, well, you know, I need at least 3 bedrooms, at least a full bath and a half, you know, 1,600 plus square feet, a basement and a garage. Okay, cool. Every house on planet Earth. Got you. You know what I mean? Like, no specifics whatsoever, you know? And so what I started having them do, though, because, you know, inevitably, what we're doing is we're going around for the next 6 months every weekend playing a process of elimination. You know, they want to buy a house. I want to get a commission check. You know, this is a lose-lose if all we're doing is just spinning our wheels, crossing ones off the list, you know, as opposed to targeting what it is that they actually want, you know. So what I would have them do is I would have them sit down with me, close their eyes, and take me on a tour of their dream home. You know, I'm like, use all your senses, maybe not taste, but outside of that, you know, what does the neighborhood sound like? You know, what is, you know, is the kitchen, is it like completely, remodeled, or can you do a little bit of work yourself? You know, so inside of your price range, take me on a tour of that dream home. And as they're kind of walking me through it, you know, I'm just writing things down, and now I'm sending them 5 houses instead of 500. Now we're taking one Saturday to look at 3 of those houses, 2 of which they like, 1 of which they'll put an offer in on. So that 6-month process has now been eliminated to 1 afternoon, you know? So what I'm getting at is, if you're doing that for a home that you're going to invest a bunch of money in, why would you not do that for a partner that you're investing your life into? You know? So I tell guys, build an avatar. Much like if you've ever played Madden or NBA 2K or something like that, you could build your own character. They give you a certain allotment of points. And like, okay, I want my quarterback to have a strong throwing arm, somewhat accurate. Don't care if he's slow, so no points there. You know what I mean? And so what I'm doing is having them from a looks perspective. What's your ideal woman look like? With specifics, eye color, hair color, body type, you know, all that. And then what is her personality like? Maybe you like a girl who's a little bit of a I don't know, a little bit of a firecracker, you know what I mean? Type of personality. Maybe you like a very introverted type of girl that likes to just chill out at home. What is her personality like? What types of activities is she into? Much of which is probably going to be the things that you're into, you know? Maybe some differences, but probably 80% anyway, of what you like. How does she style herself? How does she present herself? What's her life like with her family? What's her friends look like? Is she friends with all dudes? Is she friends with a couple of guys and mainly women? Is she friends with all women? Like, whatever's important to you is whatever's important to you, you know? So building that out. Now, the next step is, where do these types of women congregate? If you're the type of guy who, like, look, you're on your grind. You got to be up at 5 a.m. You got stuff going on all the time. Maybe you have kids, and so you got to split your time there with that, and why would you go to the bar or the club to meet this ideal woman? Not to say that women at the bar or club can't be what you're looking for, but however, if you don't want a girl that has a party lifestyle, maybe not go to party lifestyle places to try to meet women. You know what I mean? So, go to where, like, those types of women that you build out, where do they congregate? Position yourself in front of them. Have conversations with them, get to know them, and here's the deal. Even if that type of woman, she rebuffs your advances or whatever, like, if you can build some type of friendship with her, guess what? She has friends of a feather flock together and all that, so as an extension, maybe you could get to know her friends. Maybe that girl is one of her actual friends, so that's what I'm saying with getting out there and getting in front of those types of women. And on top of that, when that type of woman that you're going to meet, that meets that avatar, or at least very close to it, is going to be rare. It forces you to have to take action, because when is the next time that type of woman is going to present herself in front of you? So you have to take action. You have to go talk to her. You have to get to know her. So that's usually kind of one of the starting places in my mind, is actually knowing what you want. I say it all the time. It's in my book. A man who knows who he is and knows what he wants is a dangerous man. Unfortunately, most men don't know either. So that's the knowing what you want part. You can't, if you don't know what you want, you're essentially hoping to find what it is that you might think that you want in a dark room. All the lights are off and you're just kind of feeling around, trying to find what it is that you think you might want. Wouldn't it just be better to turn the light on and just be like, oh, here it is? What I mean?
Well, I guess on that note, how do you figure out what you want? I mean, I was just thinking about your analogy with the house. I mean, you look at a house and you're like, well, I would love to have a kitchen that's already beautiful and ready to go, but maybe I could do some work on it. And I'm kind of wondering, like, when someone's talking to you about what it is they're looking for, do you ever get into like the why do you want that? Like, why is that important to you? Or
well, yeah, to a degree. Again, I'm not here. I don't like the idea of like judging what somebody wants. You know what I mean? But if they've had a history of dealing with women who are, I'll give you a case in point. My buddy, I almost said his name. I can say his name. He's one of my best friends in the world. He went through a pretty rough divorce. Okay, and that woman had certain characteristics and qualities that, she needed constant validation, constant attention. Nothing was ever good enough. He could take his day off work and sing her praises for the next 16 hours. And what about the 17th hour? Do you not like me as much anymore? Like that kind of thing. And so, what I would see him do, because he would come to me with all his relationships. I mean, who better? You know what I mean? Your best friend is, coaches this stuff. So he comes to me with like his relationship issues and things like that. And one of the things and patterns I noticed is every woman that he would date and get into a relationship with would have a lot of the same negative qualities and characteristics as his wife had. you know? And so, I had to talk to him about that. I'm like, look, man, like nothing you ever do is going to be good enough for this woman, just like your ex. If she's upset with you because you didn't text her back 5 minutes after texting her, like that sounds like, if she's going to be that upset over a text message, what about if you're 2 hours late to something? Like you had a flat tire or whatever. Is she even going to buy the excuse? You know, they're showing a lot of the same characteristics. So it's like, man, you got to get away from women who have that type of personality because it just doesn't match with you. And so if you're finding yourself, hey, I like I don't know, the bad girl or something like that. Well, with the bad girl comes baggage, and so maybe that baggage isn't worth the price of admission. So you may have to recalibrate, rethink why it is that, okay, all these take an audit of your relationships. Why did these relationships not last? What about these women's personalities was it that provoked me to have to move on to the next one? So if that's the case, it might be worth taking a long, hard look at why you're attracted to what you're attracted to.
Yeah, and I think that not enough guys do that. I mean, you're right. We all know what we think we know what we want and what we like, but sometimes you got to be a little bit more self-reflective of why do I want that? Because sometimes you're just setting yourself. That's why so many people, you've seen them, Dale. They divorce, wife A, and now wife B strangely looks a lot like wife A, dresses very similarly, maybe acts very similarly, and you're sort of like just expecting a different result. So I think that's all very fascinating. But let's go to the other side of the coin.
Okay.
I think a lot of guys want to know, what is it, just generally speaking, what is it that women find attractive in men? Because a lot of guys just, there's a reason why we have the book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. It's for that reason. It's like sometimes you don't even understand. So can you tell us a little bit about what is it that women find attractive in men?
Well, here's the deal. People, I think this is a psychological flaw that a lot of people have, is that they think that we still recording? We still on?
Yeah.
For some reason, my screen just like blew up, populated. It's just me. Hang on, because I want to see it. Oh, I'm the only one on. Oh, there we go. Okay. Sorry about that, man. It's just all of a sudden just my big old face on the screen. but yeah, here's the thing. So, people have this psychological flaw a lot of times where they just assume that people think like they do. Women are attracted to things in men much differently than men are to women. Are there crossover? Yeah, sure. You know what I mean? Like, look, for us, as guys, more often than not, looks are a premium. You know what I mean? Like, you're looking at a woman, you're like, she is physically attractive. I want to know her. Okay. Women look at men as, who is he? I want to know him. So, like, an example I love is, it's like if you and your buddies are sitting around talking, 9 times out of 10, if you're like, hey, I've been dating this girl, it's been going well, we've been on a few dates, I can see this like really turning into something. The next thing out of your buddy's mouth is, what does she look like? And you're pulling out your phone and blah, say blah. Okay. As to where with women, if they're all sitting around, sure, they're curious about what he looks like too, but they're not asking what he looks like. If the woman's saying the same thing, been out with this guy a few times and I really like him, it's going well. Who is he? What does he do? What is he about? Like all these things. The looks are secondary. It's not that they're not important or don't exist. It's just a smaller piece of the puzzle. That's all. So a lot of times with looks, as guys, we're fairly fortunate that we don't have to, be an underwear model to, necessarily land a very attractive woman. Okay. And I don't mean with leading with your wallet either. That's a mistake in and of itself. But here's the thing, if she can understand who you are as an individual, what you're about, that you're passionate about things, you have things going on in your life, you have a group of friends, you have a social circle, you're committed to leveling up in life and doing well, and that could be financial, that could be personal fitness, whatever, all those things. Even she wants to be with a man, and what is attractive to her is the way that he is, who he is as an individual. See, a lot of guys, what they do is, they go on like dating apps and things like that, and they get no matches. Or if they do, it's some woman, that's a bot or something, you know what I mean? And then they come away dejected. I must be mad ugly. I can't get any matches. Well, when I hear that, what that tells me is that you don't understand the way that dating apps work, is really what it boils down to. And you're probably, when you're out and about in the world, you're probably not presenting yourself in the best way possible. Because make no mistake, you're a walking billboard to planet Earth. People can only, you could say it's wrong and it's not right, but I'm just saying it is what it is. People make snap judgments about people. And if her snap judgment is, oh, this guy's just like every other guy, or, you're not even on her radar. She doesn't even notice you at all, that you're even in the room, like, that's because you're not presenting yourself in the right way. Many guys, like, I'll put it to you like this. Whenever I go to the mall, I always notice 90% of guys are what I call like mall guy. And what I mean by mall guy is this, where they might have on like just a basic t-shirt, or maybe a flannel, or maybe some type of like polo type shirt. They might have on some like dad jeans or some like Dockers, you know what I mean? And like wearing some like Avia sneakers or some just very basic sneakers, like those guys don't stand out at all. Those guys don't, they're invisible to women. It's almost like they're a ghost walking by or something. You know what I mean? They see right through them, they're just inconsequential. And then guys are like, well, why don't I get attention from women? It's like, because you look like every other guy that is in front of her. And it's not that you're ugly. It's just that the way that you're presenting yourself probably reminds her of her dad, or brother or something. There's nothing edgy about you. There's nothing that stands out about you. And so why would she pay you attention? You know what I mean? If I'm driving down the street and there's, I'm starting to get hungry and I'm seeing 50 different billboards for restaurants, the ones that stand out to me are either going to be the ones I already like, or they got a billboard that catches my attention. Like the McDonald's one, I'll see it and forget about it in 2 seconds, because I've seen that a million times, So that's what I mean. If you groom yourself well, present yourself well, articulate yourself well when you actually do have a conversation, having her think of things that she's never thought before. Those are the types of things that make you stand out. And if she can, by you demonstrating this in leadership qualities, like a lot of times you see this on the internet a lot, you got to be an alpha male, and I understand where those guys are coming from. I have a bit of a point of contention with that phraseology, but bottom line, when I see alpha, or you need to be an alpha, really what it's saying is you need to have leadership skills. You need to be able to show her that you can lead, that you're assertive, that you will plan things out, plan a date out. I see this, women complain about this all the time. I started talking to this guy, but he's not about nothing. He just plays video games all day, and they don't want that. They want to see a guy with drive, a guy with passion, a guy that they can, get behind. Do you know what I know it sounds out of left field, but do you know what an A&R agent is, or A&R scout?
No.
Okay. So in the music industry, they have what are called A&Rs. And what A&Rs do, their whole job is to sign the next big thing, the next big artist to their record label that they work for. All right. And so, they're going out and seeing some band play or a rapper or DJ or whatever, in front of 300 people at their local, wherever. And, like, okay, does this person have it or don't they have it? And now I kind of think of women as A&R scouts for men, like they want to be along for the ride, for the ascent, yeah, you might have some women at the top of that peak for the guys that have arrived, but they got to battle it out amongst each other. That's a lot more difficult than it is catching somebody on the uptick. That'd be like the A&R scout trying to go sign Metallica or something. It's going to cost a lot of money to do that. And they got to battle it out, bidding war amongst all these other record labels. But if I go and sign the next big thing that nobody even really knows about yet, I'm getting that at a discount, So that's what I'm saying is they want to see you on the ascent, and be on that ride along with you. That's almost as good as actually already having it. They can tell the difference between, a lot of guys will serve up lip service. Oh yeah, I'm gonna be a doctor. I'm gonna be a lawyer. I'm gonna do X, Y. I'm gonna start this business. Well, yeah, okay, cool. But if all you're doing is, smoking weed and playing video games and, like, yeah, you could say that, but nobody's gonna buy that for long, But if somebody is like really putting in the work, they're in med school, they're, residency somewhere, or, like an intern or whatever, like it's very clear that there's a clear path to success there. So best to get on the ride now before it's too late. You know what I mean?
Dale, I wanted to go back real quick before we lose track of this conversation. You talked about, okay, dress nice, groom yourself, you'll stand out when you're like in a mall. And I agree. I cannot agree with you more. Just walking around the mall, I cannot believe some of the stuff guys are wearing. And I mean, it's like little things, like guys aren't taking care of their nails, their hair. It's like they look like they roll out of bed most days. I don't know who you think you're going to attract looking like that. But most people, I would think in 2024 are dating through these apps and these websites and all these other things. So I'm curious, how do you make yourself stand out when they're not seeing you walk in a mall? They're just seeing a picture and a bio on one of these apps.
Sure. Yeah, I got you. You're right. A lot of guys do solely use pretty much dating apps. I think that's a mistake, and I'll get into that in 1 second. I just want to like kind of set something up here. So, I'm a big advocate of like, if somebody owns a business or whatever, they'll be familiar with the term lead funnels. Where are you getting your leads from? If you're a construction company, where's your leads coming in? Real estate agent, where's your leads coming from, right? So you're going to have certain activities. One might be social media marketing, one might be I'm going door to door, like whatever they are is whatever they are. Okay. So I advocate that guys have 3 lead funnels, one being dating apps, one being cold approaching, and one being social circle. Okay. And if you utilize all 3 of those and you're doing all 3 of those correctly, you don't have time to deal with as many leads that will be coming in. Okay. You'll have a champagne problem on your hands. All right. So, but with dating apps, the mistake a lot of guys make is, think about it like this. Okay. Again, being a billboard, if you want somebody to click on your ad, if you're putting out a social media ad on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, right? You're trying to make that ad as eye-catching, as engaging and interesting as possible, so as that somebody clicks on it. If you got a restaurant and you just show me a picture of just this normal hamburger and they're like, want a hamburger? Like, maybe I just don't want that one. You know what I mean? Like, I'm probably not going to click on that ad, but if it's, like it's super done up and a hamburger sounds good. Hey, and they're offering me a 15% coupon at this place or whatever. Bam. Okay, cool. got you. You know, so your social media, or I'm sorry, your dating apps profiles should reflect that. It should be the best version of you. Most guys, understandably, we're just not hardwired this way, aren't good at pictures, you know. And look, you know, women have been taking, you know, pictures since selfies since the time that they were probably 10 years old. They have lighting figured out. They have angles figured out. You know, they wear makeup, so they got their makeup figured out, coordinating with their outfits that coordinate with the lighting and the angling and all that kind of stuff. You know, so look, if you want to attract women on the dating apps, your pictures need to tell a story. Okay, the old adage: a picture's worth 1,000 words. Well, what are the 1,000 words saying about you? You know, you got these guys who, you know, their pictures are nothing but like, okay, here's my selfie. Here I am. Oh, here's me in front of the bathroom mirror. Oh, here's me leaning against the counter. Oh, I'm in my car with my sunglasses on. You know what I mean? Like, it's not really saying anything. What it's saying essentially is that you're boring. Is really what it's saying. You know, so what you want to do is you want to get pictures that demonstrate your lifestyle, who you are as an individual. Hey, you like throwing a football around on the beach on a Saturday afternoon? There's your picture. You know what I mean? Like, you show that you have a friend group. You know, you don't want it to be like, you know, your main picture. Here's me and my 20 best friends or something, because, you know, she's not going to be able to identify who you even are, probably. But hey, here's me at my buddy's bachelor party. You know what I mean? You and a couple of friends or whatever, looking like you're having a good time. You know, she wants to have fun. She wants to get to know a guy that she can have fun with. You know, a guy that's interesting, that likes to do things, stuff like that, you know? And so if you demonstrate your lifestyle, what it is that you like to do, it will go a long way. Take way more pictures than you need to. You know, I know for me, I'm not the most photogenic guy in the world. Okay. So for me, you know, for when I do a photo shoot, like, I'm lucky if I get 6 good pictures out of 500. You know what I mean? But I'm willing to do 500 pictures for those 6, you know? So that's what I'm getting at, is demonstrating that lifestyle through your pictures. Now with your bio, you know, look, she ain't meeting you on LinkedIn. You don't need to roll out your resume and, you know, like, she can go to LinkedIn for that. You know, if she wants to meet a guy that's got a CBA and has worked at wherever for the last 10, you know, she ain't trying to see all that. That's all boring stuff. Does she want to know what you do for work and stuff? Yeah, cool. You know, of course she does. But it doesn't have to be boring. Okay. So what I advocate is there's really 2 different ways of going about it. You know, one way is, and this is my personal preference. You know, for me, although I've seen the other way work really well too. It's just like kind of up to you what you want to do. But you know, I keep it kind of short and sweet and playful. You know, so like my Tinder profile, you know, all it really says is, I'm 6'2", I do what I want, and then loves, you know, loves, you know, slash, and then an emoji of a puppy, an emoji of a kitten, ice cream, and a barbell. That's it. You know what I mean? And it's just fun and playful. You know, the other way of going about it is like ad copy. You know, much like you would do for if you're rolling out a new product or something like that, and you're mailing it out to your emailer list, and you got this like really long copy, and it's engaging and all that kind of stuff. That's the other way of going about it. You know what I mean? But you want it to be fun at the end of the day, not a bunch of facts and not a bunch of, I don't know what I'm looking for here. Hopefully I meet the one. Like, no, just stop that. You know, that's terrible. You know, looking for a girl that's fun. Like, everybody thinks they're fun. You know what I mean? Like, and on top of that, that comes across as I'm looking for a girl to bang. You know what I mean? Like, so if you just kind of keep it about you, not what you're looking for and things like that, and just keep it just very, very fun. Now, here's the other part of it. Okay. The other part is that different dating apps have different cultures to it. Okay. So, like, for instance, now they don't say that they are, but it's pretty universally known that Tinder is a hookup app. Okay. So, what you're going to put on Tinder and what you're going to put on eHarmony should look significantly different. You know what I mean? eHarmony is more gauged towards what? Relationships and getting to meet the one. You know what I mean? Bumble skews a little bit in the middle, you know what I mean? But all of them hinge in the middle. You know, they all kind of have their own little culture to it, you know? And so, I'm not going to go to a convention that sells swimming pools and I'm trying to sell, I don't know, ball caps. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a different environment for that. That'd be dumb for me to do, you know? So why would you do the same thing on your dating apps? Because the people that are going to be seeing it are going to be looking for different things. So you may as well offer them that thing if you're going to be on there, you know? So that's the other part of it. And some of the dating apps, they ask you for more information. It's not just like some little tiny, thing like what I said for my Tinder bio, you know, like different ones may ask, like, what are your interests and what are, things like that. What are your hobbies? Okay, cool. Put those, but make it descriptive. Don't put, I like going to the gym. I like running. I like music, like, okay, that's boring. Instead of saying you go to the gym, be like, I've been known to throw weights around a time or two. Like that's fun and descriptive and so the last part of the thing with dating apps is understanding the algorithm, so a lot of guys are not getting matches and they're like, man, like I just must be super unattractive or something, like I can't get any matches to save my life. A lot of the times it's because nobody's even seen you. You don't know what you don't know. You can't swipe on somebody that you don't know exists, so the algorithm works just like any social media platform algorithm works. When you sign up for a profile on something, you get a bigger push. My biggest TikTok, the best performing TikTok video I have is the very first one I put out. It gave me the most reach, and then the algorithm decides, okay, do people want to see this? Make no mistake, the app's job is to keep you on the app. Why? So they can show you advertisements. They can't show you advertisements if you're not on the app. So they're only going to show you people that they think that you may swipe on. If all you see is a bunch of people that you would have no interest in ever talking to or getting to know, it's not going to keep you on the app to see ads, So when you may have to, sign up again, get good pictures, get your profile together and things like that. And, kill your old profile and sign up again, just so you get that initial push, because you might be so buried in the algorithm now that it's all nearly impossible to dig your way out. There are a couple of ways of doing that, but, it's, if you're super committed to try, you don't want to kill your profile. A couple of ways of doing that is set your location to like a place like Thailand or Colombia, where you just got like all these women on there that are mainly prostitutes, you know what I mean? But they swipe right on everything, you know what I mean? And so it'll just build your score up. You do that for like a few weeks and then switch your location back to where you live. Now you've tricked the algorithm into thinking like, okay, this guy's in play, let's push him out. What's that?
I said he saw stuff. I gotta show him to more women.
Right. Exactly. Another way too is if you switch your profile picture to like some like male model or something like that, and then you start getting a bunch of attention all of a sudden, and then switch your pictures back. That's another way you can do it too. But you have to trick the algorithm. I'm not saying trick the women. Like don't carry conversations on and mislead them or anything like that. It's just a means to an end to get your algorithm points up, so you actually get in front of the women that you do want to actually talk to.
Well, Dale, let me ask you, because we're talking about, you're a male dating coach. I've had female dating coaches on, and what's interesting is that one of the principal complaints that I've heard that women have when they are dating guys from, dating apps, is
Yeah.
that the man they meet doesn't match the man that was in the profile.
Yeah.
So how do you help your clients sort of navigate that and make sure that they're presenting the best version of themselves, but it's not like so idealistic that they're really not like that person?
Well, okay. So, again, going back to demonstrating your lifestyle, what does your lifestyle look like? You know, if you're like, man, I don't do anything really. I sit at home on the weekends and watch Netflix, and during the week I go to work, I come home, I eat dinner, watch Netflix. You know what I mean? Look, if you don't have a reason to get out there and start having some type of purpose in your life and some type of ambition or goals or anything, and this is as good a reason as any, you know what I mean? You should want to demonstrate a best version of you. And if you're not at that best version, start working towards that, so you're not misrepresenting anybody. If you're a guy who's like, taking pictures at the museum because you think women will be attracted. Oh, like, oh, look at this guy's high class and he's, so, I don't know, interesting because he likes to go to the museum. And you're like, I hate going to the museum. I just did that for those pictures. Like, then don't go to the museum and get those pictures, So, yeah, I mean, and I get it, like I would be upset if a girl presented herself in a certain way and showed up in a completely different, like, is this even the same person, So don't do that. Just simply show your lifestyle, what you're about. If you don't have hobbies, start having hobbies. Start figuring it out, And there's no downside to that. Like, okay, you go and try out a bunch of new things to see if it's a fit for you, as a hobby or an interest or whatever. Okay. The plus size is, the plus side is that you develop a bunch of hobbies that you enjoy doing and meet a bunch of new cool people who enjoy doing those things too. The worst case scenario is you tried some stuff, you learned how to do a few new things, may not have resonated with you all that much, but still, nonetheless, you learned a few new things and met a few new people, and so there's no losing, there's no downside to getting out there and living a life.
And let's be honest, guys in general need to get more hobbies, at least the ones I've been around for 20 years of divorcing men.
Yeah.
Like, guys just aren't very good about doing this. Just like guys aren't very good about developing good friendships later in life. It's like, most guys have their buddies from like high school and college that they've sort of, if they stay in the same area. We're not really good about getting out there. And listen, that's part of it. You want to get out there and, have your own life, and that will attract somebody. It just will. I mean, if you have a very, very good life where you have things that, make you happy and make you passionate, that's going to like spill over to somebody. It's going to attract somebody.
Absolutely. Like, and a lot of times guys who are in relationships, the issue that they have, and it can become a huge, huge issue, is that a guy just lives his life according to what his girlfriend or wife's or whatever her interests are. You know what I mean? Like, she does all the social planning. She does the, hey, let's go this Saturday. Let's go to the Hello Kitty convention, and like, okay, off we go. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying, you don't support your woman and her interests and things like that, but you have to live your own life. You have to, even when you're together, you have to have your own life. She's not going to respect you as much if you're willing to sacrifice everything about you to appease her. I say this very often. Respect plus trust equals attraction. She has to respect you. And if you can't tell her no, because you got something going on, you're just willing to cash in your chips for whatever it is that you like to do, so is that she can know where you are at all times and things like that, she's going to lose respect for you, And so I advocate that you have at least two non-negotiables in your life, that no matter what, barring some type of emergency situation, no matter what, have a couple of things that are just not up for debate. They are non-negotiable. These things are going to happen, you know? So like for me, it's going to the gym, you know, like if I lose business because I'm at the gym, I'm willing to make that sacrifice, you know? Now it's never came down to that, but if it did, hey, I'm not selling myself out, you know? I'm going to go. And people know that about me. So they put their schedule around, they know that I go to the gym at 11 o'clock in the morning or whatever, you know, that they know, don't try to get at Dale. Or if you do, don't expect him to get back at you until he's out of the gym. Simple as that, you know? So you need to have these things. If you're, you know, like we'll just say it's every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock, you play poker with your buddies. Okay. That should be a non-negotiable for you. If you meet a girl on whether it's online or wherever, and she's like, oh, hey, you know, yes, I'd love to go out with you. I'm free 8 p.m. on Wednesday. 99% of guys are going to be like, well, poker be damned. You know what I mean? I'm going out with her. No. Wednesday at 8, I'm not available. Here's the times and days that I'm available. Does any of that work for you? You know, because you shouldn't, especially on like a first date or something, you should not be swapping out who you are, training in who you are to get in good with her. You know?
Yeah. Well, Dale, there's a lot here. You just gave our listeners a ton of information in a short amount of time.
Like drinking from a fire hose, man.
That's what you're doing. But let me tell you, there's a lot to unpack, and there's so much more I know you know than you could possibly say in an hour podcast. So, talk to our listeners a little bit about if they wanted to talk to you more or work with you. How would they do that, and how do you actually help guys date?
Yeah. Okay, so you know, there's a few different ways that I can work with guys. First of all, I'm easy to find. I'm super easy to find. You know, if you Google Dale Valor, you know what I mean? I'm really easy to find. But yeah, man, I mean, there's a bunch of different ways that I can work with guys. I'm part of a company called Modern Success, you know, and it's a whole lifestyle design. It's not just about dating. Dating's a big part of it, but you know, we have a celebrity personal trainer. We have business coaches that help guys with business. You know, we even have a time management coach, you know, to help guys figure out their schedules. You know, we got a fashionista coach, you know, that helps guys style their wardrobes and take better pictures and things like that. We have a social media coach. You know what I mean? List goes on and on and on, you know. And that's one way of doing it. Another way is I have my own mastermind program, which enables you to, you know, we have a class every week. You know, you can be a part of that class. If you can't be there, just tell me and I'll send you the replay. And, you know, you have access to me. You know, you can DM me anytime. As well as you have access to the Modern Success Discord, which, you know, you can network with any of the guys in there, ask any of the other coaches something that might be a little bit more germane to your specific situation, you know, or whatever. But, you know, bottom line is we have professional athletes in there. We have huge business moguls in there, Hollywood type celebrities in there, and things like that, you know, that you can network with, you know what I mean? As if you're trying to do something. But case in point, just me, myself, I'll use myself as an example. One of my students is a TV writer. You know, he writes on The Mandalorian, he writes on Picard, he writes on The Equalizer on CBS, and he got a horror movie in production and things like that. Just on the strength of that, knowing him and I are collaborating on writing a new TV show, you know? So, you know, and I wouldn't have that connect otherwise, you know? So that's the beauty of that. Also, you have access to 4 times a year, we do what's called getaways, and it's 100% free to you. You know, we usually do them in Los Angeles, Miami, Austin, Vegas, thinking about Nashville for the next one, but New York. And so, you got 50 guys all coming there. We talk to everybody. We go out, we hang out, we have a good time. We have classroom sessions and things like that. And, we coach, infield, like as we're out at these venues and stuff like that, and kind of, hey, don't do that. Yeah, do more of that. You know what I mean? Things like that. And help them out in their conversations and communication skills with women and stuff like that. So that's another way. Another way, April 27th, I have a virtual summit coming up on how to get dates faster. So you got some of the biggest names in the space that I'm in, and it's 100% free. All you got to do, you can reach out to me on any of my social media platforms. Or you can, if you want to register, you can go to gettingdatesfaster.com and register there, and you're in. It's simple as that. It's me, my homegirl Jamie Date, my homegirl Marnie Wingirl. Who else on there? Johnny Saporno. Porn star Christy Love is going to be speaking. And so it's going to be dope, and so if you want to learn how to get dates faster instead of just muddling around and whatever happens, you want to be a little bit more strategic about it. That's something that you want to be a part of, and it's 100% free, so can't beat that. What else you got to lose?
Awesome, Dale. Awesome. Well, we'll put all your social media handles in the show notes so anyone can run down there and pick them up.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate you being here. Do
I appreciate you having me on, man. I love conversations like this, man, because, the thing is that I don't know if you've seen this study and I'm paraphrasing here a bit, but, I don't remember what the statistic is, but men are literally dying from loneliness. That's dying. Because it's not because they want to be, you know what I mean? Maybe some dudes do, but by and large, as people, we're social creatures, and I've been there. I've been in that situation where I'm like, I don't know what to say to people. I don't know what to do, use my mistakes so you don't make your own. I bumped my head against the wall a million times, and those million times shouldn't even cost you once, because all you have to do is just listen and take action, and that's it. So if you don't know where to start, which a lot of guys don't, especially coming out like, hey, I've been married 20 years and the world's unchanged. I understand that. So why not get with somebody? I'm not even saying it has to be me, but get with somebody who knows what they're doing that can show you the ropes a little bit, and so you don't have to be lonely. You don't have to feel isolated. You don't have to feel like the world's passed you by, because it hasn't. You're the one that's letting it pass you by. Instead of watching the parade go by, just jump in the parade, man. So
yeah, and I got to tell you, Dale, if you didn't take anything else away from this conversation, the last thing you just said, you should take away. There's no reason to be lonely. There's no reason to be lonely. And I got to tell you, I don't think anyone wants to be lonely. I think the only people that, you think might want to be lonely are the people who've convinced themselves that they're not good enough, that there's nobody out there for them, and they just have decided that's what they're going to do. But I really appreciate you being here, and anyone who is interested in getting some help dating, Dale's your man, and he's already told you how to contact him. So get in contact with him. Thanks so much, Dale.
Hey, John, listen, again, thank you so much. I appreciate what you do. This is awesome, and just the fact that I get to contribute a small piece to that makes my day.
Awesome. Well, take care.
You got it.